It is a brand new episode of Flyers Daily, a Monday edition for, it's the first one of the month of March 3rd, 2025. Flyers Daily is always presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Around my house, Billy, this time of year, March is known as the birthday month. The wife's birthday comes a week before mine, although 6 years later. And mine's on the 30th, but we're going to just grind through this birthday.
Same in my house, too. It's my daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
It's my younger stepson's birthday, and it's my older stepson's birthday. So.
And it's a time to get really serious about hockey birthday.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
We've got the deadline on Friday. We got a lot going on this month. Playoff positioning and seeding is by no means a foregone conclusion right now, especially in the East. The East has been dominant over the West this year. Some interesting things to talk about, but let's look back real quick at the week that just happened for the Flyers, Bill, because they go into Four Nations with a win over the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they come out of Four Nations with their hair on fire and have played really well of late. Probably their best extended stretch of the season. In their last 5 games, they're 4-0-1. They've got 9 of a possible 10 points. If you want to get back into the mix, they're doing exactly what they have to do.
No, for sure. And convincing win over Edmonton, a blowout win over the Penguins, who they went down pretty meekly to the Flyers. I mean, the one that stings is the overtime loss, obviously in Pittsburgh, where you have a 3-0 lead and a 4-2 lead, and you really want and need to come away with the 2 points. But on the flip side, the Flyers could not have responded better. In Winnipeg, they played a great game, got tremendous goaltending, and now all of a sudden you're looking at 9 out of possible 10 points, and it's all good because you even though the Flyers have had success against the Jets, you don't expect to go into Winnipeg with the best record in the league and go in and find a way to beat them. Particularly, I mean, Hellebuyck did everything he could do. So, I mean, it was. You figure if it's going to come down to goaltending in that game, especially with Fedotov in the net, you're not going to come on the winning end. So he played probably his best game in the NHL so far. You got a really nice shootout winner from Michkov, and now all of a sudden, you have a recently struggling to score Calgary team coming in on Tuesday. They were just shut out back-to-back and almost shut out a third time in a row, kind of a little bit what the Flyers went through. They can't get a goal, and they'll be a tired team too. It'll be their 4th game in 6 nights, and they're on a crazy road trip. So
and there's a lot of storyline there too, obviously, with Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost
coming back. Yeah. So the Flyers have an opponent they probably should beat on Tuesday, given there's a lot of factors working in their favor. So the Flyers have a great chance to just keep on rolling here and see how many points they can keep stacking up.
You mentioned it. You go into Winnipeg, not an easy place to go into, especially, kind of in Winnipeg and hit and run. You come out, go from Pittsburgh to there and come back home. You're going against, for my money right now, the best goaltender in the world playing the best at the position, and Connor Hellebuyck coming fresh off that tournament. And he's one of those guys like Carey Price in his prime that will beat you mentally before you even shoot the puck. That's how dominant he is.
He made that one glove save on Brink.
Yeah.
And he just snapped it out of the air and showed him the puck. I mean, it was that's all the confidence he has right now, right?
Yeah, it was so matter of fact. That he just, his reads, everything, he uses his body. He's unbelievable goaltender right now in the league. And for Fedotov to go in there and outduel him in that game, I thought the team played excellent too. And even though they got caught in the overtime, tired at one point, I never thought they lost coverage in that overtime. I thought their communication in the 3-on-3 overtime and just handing guys off to other parts of the ice, I thought it was brilliant. And they really didn't, Fedotov had to make some really big saves, and he was excellent in the game. But this team kind of, it defies me a little bit, Bill, because I watched that Penguins team this week. Yeah. I watched Chris Letang and Erik Karlsson absolutely mailing it in. I mean, Letang on the one Flyer goal that Kate scored on the shot, he was playing like he was afraid to get hit by the puck.
Yeah.
He and Mike Sullivan coaches like John Tortorella. You don't shy away from blocking a puck. Those guys are mailing it in.
Yeah,
and they're in the same situation as the Flyers.
Yeah, and that's why it was so shocking the way that the back half of the home and home ended up playing out because the Flyers could hardly have been in better position to, maybe not another blowout, but they had firm control over that game. That's why to let that one slip away. And I didn't think it was it wasn't a goaltending thing either. Flyers just lost their way for a period of time in that game, and the next thing you know, you're in a fight. So
yeah, and they pull Nedeljkovic, and that gives him some juice, and because he's all fired up, smashes the stick, which I love. That doesn't bother me in the least. I think the thing is too, one of the things that maybe I'm most surprised about with this season that's been full of twists, turns, and surprises for the Flyers is that this team, they don't quit. Maybe it's the thing that John Tortorella has done the most. I thought that there was a real chance that the team could show a lack of effort at times this year. Because of the result and because of when goaltending sinks you, it can really sag a team. And maybe that's the greatest thing that he's done this year. This team has not done that. And if that's culture or if that's a standard or whatever that is, that's going to be something you can carry forward, especially when you got a team full of a lot of young players that are 26 and under.
No, certainly. And battling through adversity. I mean, the Flyers getting shut out 3 straight games could not have been more frustrating.
Embarrassing.
And they reset. They've gotten back on the horse, and the results have been there. I mean, and not just these have been a lot of really nice goals scored lately too. Now, mind you, no team has given up more 5-on-5 goals this year than Pittsburgh. But hey, you know what? You're playing who you're playing, and the Flyers took full advantage of that. And then in Winnipeg, they had to show patience. They and they had opportunities. They had chances to get into their transition game, and Hellebuyck was just making some really tremendous saves on them. They really earned that. I mean, never like to see a game decide in a shootout, win or lose it, but the Flyers deserved that game. They really did.
I thought they played excellent in the game. They really did. The TK breakaway, Hellebuyck makes a great save on it. And ultimately you get great goaltending. If you're going to put yourself back in this mix, Bill, and when you look at the standings right now, they're still on the outside looking in. They still have a heap of teams to jump. It's not easy. To me, it's still incredibly unlikely because they played more games than a lot of teams they're also competing with the exception of the Bruins and the Penguins.
Yeah, they'll need regulation wins here. Not even so much for the tiebreaker, because it's be awfully tough to
can't go out 3 points. Now.
Yeah. I mean, that's an extra point the Flyers are going to have to get. But just in terms of catching up to teams where you're playing more and more in conference, you need the regulation wins wherever you can. Yeah, the odds are tough. I mean, even though. And especially because you can have a stretch there where you're getting 7 of 8 points, and you find you've gained a point, right? All you can do is try to keep winning, try to keep gathering points, and other teams will go through some bumps too, and you see where you can take it. We'll see what happens during this big homestand. It's a great opportunity. Flyers really want to be better at home, and they have to be right now.
I don't recall many 7-game homestands.
No.
This is a lengthy one, Bill. No. Hey, we're going to see. You get Calgary Tuesday. Then Thursday, it's Winnipeg again. They'll wrap up the season series. And Saturday, Sunday matinees. It's Seattle Saturday, 12:30. Jersey Sunday. Then Tuesday, Ottawa. Thursday against Tampa. Carolina on Saturday wraps up the 7-game homestand. I mean, some good teams coming in there. I mean, you're going to have Carolina, you have Tampa, you have Jersey. Seattle's still biting at it. Ottawa's biting at it too right now. One spot out, trying to get into the playoffs as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Let's go back to the Winnipeg game real quick, because the game-winning goal in the shootout comes from Matvei Michkov. And since even before the break, in now 6 games, his last 6 games, going back to the Flyers loss against Washington when he went up against Ovi. And we know he loves going against the biggest players in the world. He seems to shine on that stage. In those 6 games, he got 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. He is averaging in those games over 16 minutes of ice time, almost 17 minutes. He looks refreshed. He looks refined in all zones. He looks like a different player. And I think it's a little peek, Bill, into the window of what we may see out of the gate next year.
Oh, no, for sure. And have a good off season. And, and just just have a ton of confidence. Whether he ends up leading the NHL in rookie scoring or not, although I think he has a real good shot at it.
Yeah, I just
and something else too it's something that there's a lot of hand wringing over, and I was kind of surprised to see it myself. If you look at all rookie forwards in the NHL, only Celebrini is actually averaging more ice time than Michkov is. 16 minutes a game coming into this weekend, and there have been times where he won't play in the third period, a game or two where he sat, but he's actually getting a pretty fair amount of ice. Especially any power play, he's going to be out there a lot too.
Yep.
But I like that he made a mistake in overtime in Pittsburgh, and he's right back out there next game. And I think those are the kind of things that he'll grow from.
Bill, I think getting him here this season, as the season is going on, is making me realize that it's going to pay even more dividends faster. I knew getting him early was good to get him start assimilated, and he's starting to speak English, and he looks comfortable in his surroundings and his teammates. He looks, the conversation with Sean Couturier on the mic'd up was hilarious, I thought. But the thing is he's going to learn so much about this year and get trained next year to be ready to go. And I want to play this. It's a different angle of the shootout winner against Winnipeg, and the play-by-play call courtesy of Flyers Radio and Tim Saunders. I don't think we can underestimate how filthy this move is on the best goaltender in the world. So here it is for the people watching on YouTube.
He's got the puck at center ice. Left-hand shot. Swings wide to the right side. In on Hellebuck. Goes to the net. Backhand. He scores! Matvei Michkov on the backhand goal. Scores!
That scoop there, Bill, on the backhand.
Just a filthy shift to his backhand, elevating it. No goalie was stopping it.
Yeah. It was a weird angle.
Not even Hellebuck.
Yeah, it was a weird angle to go. Yeah. Usually when you go in the backhand, you open up more. He closed and did that.
Yeah.
I'm mind blown by that because of what it does to Hellebuck's head as he's coming in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To show no indication. Like that's a ridiculous move.
Oh, for sure.
That's Sukian.
You think he's going forehand all the way.
Yeah.
And he also covered a lot of turf there too. He did a lot of skating there. That was just sensational.
Bill, the head was up too. He's evaluating and processing the situation the entire way in, which is also Datsuki and really comfortable. Again, and we're talking about the best goalie in the world right now that a lot of times will beat you mentally. But something about Michkov playing against the best players in the world, playing on the biggest stages in the biggest moments. You got a guy that's got a set of goyuns on him and stones that is going to rise to the occasion in these situations. Way more. He is not going to be a shrinking violet. We know that for sure. But one of the other things that I talked about last week, and there was some debate on social media about, the Flyers. We talk about progress quite a bit. I don't think the Flyers are going to end up with a better record this year than they had last year. I think they ended up basically at Hockey 500 last year. They didn't get in 87 points, the whole thing. I don't think they'll end up there. And ultimately, we'll measure the team on record when it's time to do that. But I think in a rebuild, you can measure a team's progress on the individual growth of players, even though the result hasn't caught up yet. I likened it to a restaurant that redoes their menu, improves their food, but their sales don't improve right away.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time for the sales to catch up to the improved product. And when you look at guys, we talked about a 10-point game the other night for the Brink Forster Cates line. Yeah. And the way that they defended Connor McDavid the game before that. Brink looks like an alien came down and took the old Bobby Brink away and brought this different one that really knows how to play at the NHL and makes plays. Yeah. Forster, I think we had a feeling about Cates. I'm a little stunned about, frankly, because it's not just the play; it's the generation of quality play.
Yeah, and with Cates, and this is a point that Tyson Forster brought up, kind of on his own, actually, a couple weeks ago, before the break, and it was in the middle of it. Cates just went through 11 games with no points.
Yeah,
but he was playing well. And doing all the right things, right? Ordinarily, you go 11 games without a point. The guy's pressing; he's in his head. And one thing that Forster said again, this is before all that. He said that, one of the things about Casey that the rest of the team can emulate, he tries to emulate, is it doesn't matter whether he's scoring or not scoring, pucks are going in or just missing or whatever. He's going to play the same way every shift, every game. Yep. And now it's paying off, because he didn't look like a player who went through 11 games without a point. He just stayed the course and worked through it, and now it's coming again. That's something that I think a lot of guys on the team, not just in the Flyers, other teams, if you emulate that, that's how you come through something like that and come out the better for it. That's one of those things where, and you've seen other guys on particularly on his line do that. You were just talking about Brink. Brink has done that too. Brink has had some peaks and valleys in terms of point production, but he's keeping with his process. I mean, that line always has puck support going. There's never gaps between them. I mean, one of the things the Flyers wanted to do coming into the season, and I brought it out on Friday Forecheck too, that one of the things they were trying to do was they didn't want to be so reliant all the time on scoring off the rush. They really wanted to be able to grind some goals when they had to, and cycle the puck a little bit and generate in that way. It gives you another way to win.
Small area hockey.
Yeah, small area. The little plays, and even if it's just living to fight another day, but simply just putting the puck in the right spot where your next line isn't coming out, backpedaling, trying to defend another team's transition play, that kind of thing, or simply just extending a shift in the offensive zone. Maybe you don't even get a scoring chance out, but you have the possession. Yeah. And then your next line comes on in better shape, and that line excels at that. Whether they've been scoring or not scoring, that line kind of epitomizes an area where the Flyers have improved considerably. And that's something that I think is something they can take away. They have other ways of playing, even if the transition game isn't rolling for them. So that's that's definitely been a positive.
That's a great point. There are lines in hockey that the line that comes out after them are the benefactor, because they're a line that tends to own the puck. No. And therefore, because they own the puck, they dictate the terms on when the line change happens. So they usually get the change while the other team's been out there chasing a puck and are tired. And then the next line comes out fresh and is a benefactor of coming out after that line. I'd love to get a stat on that. I don't know if anybody tracks it, but production after certain lines are on the ice, because I believe that's a very real thing. And that line's like the big fundamental. And I never thought I'd refer to Bobby Brink as a big fundamental player.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? I thought he was going to be a mucker grinder. But fundamentally, I saw him beat out an icing last week down in the offensive zone to keep a play alive. I think it was maybe the goaltender was pulled in the Edmonton game or something. But they've just been so much better and playing so connected. And to be able to score different ways, I think is really important. So you have those three players, Bill, who have all taken a step forward. I don't know how we'll feel about Owen Tippett's season when it's all said and done. It's been erratic for me. I'd like it needs to be smoothed out more. Yeah. For me, I think there's more there. There's no reason I think he should not be a 30-goal scorer.
No, I agree. I agree. And now again, he's been hot again lately since he's been back from injury. But no, I mean the thing with Tippett, and it's been really the story of his Flyers career so far, is he'll get you 7 goals in 8 games, and then he'll go 15 with 1 or a couple assists during that period. And he's a better player than that. He should be a better player than that.
He's got to find that consistency gear.
I think one of the things with Tippett sometimes is that as talented as he is, he's not always the easiest line mate to play with. He
all
makes
over
a
the
lot
place.
He is. He'll roam around. He'll be, and he's not necessarily a go to a spot and take a pass and one time it. A lot of his goals are self-created by carrying the mail and taking it to the net himself, and he scores unbelievable goals that way. Yep. Just turning on the jets, because there are a few guys his size who can also skate the way he can. Yeah, and he has good hands around the net.
Oh, the backhand last week, Bill, the finish in that was ridiculous. Come on,
that was absolutely filthy. So I think that's an area where he can continue to get better.
So what do you think? He just needs to add a little bit of that structure to his game because he is a little bit of a wet noodle sometimes. Like sometimes he'll just fire pucks when and I go it's kind of like a Kevin Hayes shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and one of the times sometimes he'll do this too, where the D is changing behind him, and he'll fire a low percentage shot, he'll rim out, then all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1 the other way.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more situational awareness sometimes. But I mean, there's no disputing the talent level, the athletic tools that he has. I mean, it's why sometimes you want to see a little bit more, a little more consistency from him. I mean, it was it was the case with the two guys the Flyers traded to Calgary too, because the talent is there, but it would just disappear sometimes for too long a stretches, truthfully.
Yeah, and with Tip, I've said it 1,000 times. I don't think he knows how good he is.
No, I agree with you. And moving, because I think right now the Flyers have two lines that are going really well.
Yeah,
I would like to see the line shift in and shift out. Right, the line with Lawton and Kuzmenko and Konechny's been he had the breakaway the other day, but Konechny really is. I wouldn't say scuffling, fighting it, but he's not. He doesn't have his A game right now.
Yeah,
and that's a guy. If you get that line going, then you're really onto something, because then you have three lines that are going.
Yeah.
So,
Bill, one thing that is going is the play of Jamie Drysdale.
Yeah.
I thought the play he made in the neutral zone was at the Penguin game on the Forster goal. The play, the neutral zone play, just at the Flyers blue line, kind of got overlooked because of the great pass to Forster for the one-time shot and goal. But the play he makes in the neutral zone, I think he just looks like a defenseman now that's not thinking anymore.
No,
it's clicking.
Yeah, I mean, he made that whole thing with his feet too.
Oh, he is fun to watch.
That has to be his number one weapon, and I mean, it's clearly there because he can really, really skate. That's the one thing. Other things might not be there for him at a given time, but his feet are always there, and if he can just consistently use them as a weapon, whether you're joining the play, backing the D off, and he has the speed that if he joins the play up ice, that he should be able to get back too.
Yeah.
He has been improving significantly. Really kind of since he's been back from the injury. He's gonna have games that are that aren't as good as other games, but in a lot of areas he's getting a lot better. I'm interested to see kind of moving forward here, because the Flyers have a lot invested here in Drysdale, and Cam York is locked in here. Yeah. Where's the Andre fit in? Because I know the Flyers like a lot of things about him. I know they're also leery about going too small on D. I've had people tell me that. So it's so where's the meal fit in moving forward? Because you talk about generating the transition game, moving the puck up the ice, and even sometimes joining the play up. I think he scored a couple goals too this year. The talent is there. He's an NHL defenseman. So where does he fit in down the stretch and moving forward? But it's good to have pieces and good to have options.
Yeah, and does he fit? And you look at a guy like Cam York in some kind of hockey trade, who's played top pair the last 2 years. Yeah. I'm really leery of trading Cam York, by the way.
I agree.
I see a lot of Cam York slander online. His game is not flashy. This is unfair of me to say, but he plays defense in the NHL like Mike Schmidt played third base and wasn't at bat in Major League Baseball. People always thought Mike Schmidt didn't care, didn't bust it, because he was so fluid in his movement. But it looks like a lack of effort. It's not. It's just the fluidity with which they carry themselves as players. Kuzmenko, Bill, he seems like a little bit of a fun guy. I haven't gotten really to meet him yet. I've been down there, but he's got some personality. But we're also at the deadline here, and he may be able to flip you into a third-round pick or something like that this week. Deadline coming up on Friday. What did you think of the Last Supper picture that Scott Lawton put out? I thought it was freaking brilliant.
Oh,
one guy can get away with it.
It's great. And I mean, one of the things that people don't really know about Scott, because he seems so intense all the time, he actually has, and it comes out, so he has a really dry, kind of wicked sense of humor.
Yep.
It was clear from the front, he's not announcing a trade that way. He's clearly having some fun with it, trying to alleviate some stress. Right.
Only one guy gets away with that on that team. That's him.
That's for sure. For sure. And I mean, and it was great. I mean, everybody was able to, hey, that was really cool. Take a deep breath.
Torts liked it.
Even John Torrell liked it. So it's and it doesn't mean he is 100%. He doesn't get traded. Yeah. But it was kind of it was kind of so tongue in cheek. He was like, "Well, they're gonna go crazy over this one. Just let's sit back and watch the reaction."
Yeah, let's just light the fuse and watch it go, sure. Watch the fireworks go off. I just thought it was so perfectly done too. The way it was lit and everything, it was really well done. I mean, you and I have been around the team a long time. I've been around Scott Lawton since he was a kid. Since he came into the NHL, then left for a year and came back. If he is traded, he is one of those guys that I absolutely love. Because when you walk by him in the hallway or just anywhere, you're going to get the tail whip. You're going to get a little comment or something like that, and that's the kind of guy. A lot of people don't know his kind of personality because he is an intense competitor as well. Ristolainen's name's obviously been out there quite a bit. Bill also, to me, he's playing his best hockey of his career, and it's not even close. And Torts talked about it. You and I have talked about it. The minute you trade a big right shot defenseman like that, you're going, man, we need to acquire a big right shot defenseman that makes that kind of money. This is, to me, it's the Ristolainen conundrum, and it's real.
100%, because that's a tough replacement cost there. Now, it also speaks to how much are you rebuilding it as a theoretical process, right? And where do you really see yourself a year from now, 2 years from now? There's not a guy immediately in the system who's going to come in and be groomed for that role.
Yeah, Bonk's not going to be that.
No. That will not be Bonk for sure.
Hunter McDonald's not going to be that.
No. I mean, if Hunter McDonald hits his ceiling, and he has a chance to, I think he's going to be more like a Nick Seeler, which is certainly good.
Third pair physical defenseman that can maybe score you a goal or two a year.
Yeah, for sure, and not a bad thing, especially considering where you took him in the draft and a developmental piece. But Ristolainen will go get you 20 minutes if you need it a given night to get 23 out of him. You can do that. And you get like you said, the occasional bits of offense. And I agree with you. It's like he's so much of a better player now than all those years he was a 40-point guy. He's much more valuable now. He's more valuable now than when he was leading all defensemen in hits, because he's not out of position. Yeah. It's not all about the flashy stuff. Really, a lot of it's just about playing within yourself and playing the game the quote unquote right way, keeping his feet moving. Yeah, is a big thing with him too. And right now he's playing tremendous. I mean, any contending team could certainly use him. The Flyers, certainly the Flyers have a better chance of staying in it for a playoff chase, whether they make it or not, with Rasmus Ristolainen than they would without. But then you have to look at the big picture. Okay, how many teams are bidding on him, right? And then is there a bidding war? That's really where you could go. You know what? It's worth it. We have to do it.
And you just saw what Florida did. They pick up Seth Jones. So they're bolstering the blue line. Yeah. That could start a process.
So, we'll see. I think that the Flyers are also in a position where their price is not met, or there's not the competing bids that they want. Then you move forward, and you don't move them for the sake of moving them. You move them for the sake of some team will meet your price on them. But I agree with something you said. On the other hand, I think on our last show, where his value will never be higher than it is right now either. So you have to figure how high can, if we're cashing in, how high can we make it to cash in?
Yeah, your peak value for him is right now. For Scott Lawton, a guy that has another year or two, which with his cap hit is palatable as a deadline deal for a team to get the double kick of the can for an important bottom six forward for a team maybe trying to go on a cup run. I know our friend Anthony Sanfilippo has mentioned the New Jersey Devils as a possible destination for Scott Lawton. I don't like.
There's a number of teams like.
Yep. Who couldn't?
Like although Winnipeg is deep down the middle, just to give an example, their power play number or the penalty killer numbers rather nothing special. Yep. There's hardly been a better penalty killer around the NHL the last few years than Scott Lawton.
Yeah.
That's something where that's a piece that they could use a little bit of sprucing up. That's a team. Yeah, an example. Other teams as well. Many teams, because he can play wing, he can play center, you can move him up to the third line, even for short spurts in the top six for a game or two if you have an injury or something, right? So he gives you versatility of position. He gives you the flexibility to move him up, move him down, play him in the middle six, play him in the fourth line sometimes or whatever. There's not a lot of players that can bring those things. And, although his offense kind of comes in spurts, I think when you add the whole package of what he brings, I think he's a very valuable piece on any team. And then you add the locker room part of it.
Yeah. And the thing is a guy that you can move up and you can move down and get the same effort is the thing. People go, well, yeah, everybody can move up and move down. But do you get the same work ethic when you move the guy down? A lot of players, that's not the case. With Scott Lawton, that is not an issue. And he will fit in culturally into any locker room in the NHL. Very well thought of guy. Well, we'll see what happens this week. It's going to be, I think, a fascinating week of Flyers hockey as this march towards the playoffs continues, the trade deadline coming. There'll be a lot of noise this week. And I'll just one last time give the reminder to people, trade rumors and information that gets leaked out for them has an agenda. Sometimes that agenda comes from the player side, an agent, a team, a GM, another team that's not in the mix. Just because it's out there, don't freak out. It's got an agenda. Info gets out for a reason.
No, for sure. And quite often it's when everything gets silent.
Yep.
then all of a sudden something happens.
Start mixing it up again. Yeah, absolutely. All right. For Bill Meltzer, read Bill's work at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com and NHL.com. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll preview Flyers Flames, the return of Farabee and Frost coming up on Tuesday night. Join us then on a brand new Flyers Daily.